Hello and welcome everybody to another Google Digital Garage session. And today you'll be with myself. My name is Joe Kelly Muldoon. I run a small sort of digital marketing agency, and I'm hoping that sort of some of the knowledge that I've learned over the last few years, I'll be able to pass on to yourselves. I'd also like to thank Tessa, who will be moderating today's session, one of my fellow Google Digital Garage trainers. If you do want to introduce yourself, if you want to say hi, do feel free to go across to the side. We've got a nice little comment box. Tess has already said hello and morning, everyone. If you could do as well is when you're introducing yourself, maybe who you are, where you're from, do feel free to also maybe put what your business is, what you're hoping to learn from today's session, because throughout the session, there's a few examples of maybe businesses or examples of faux businesses that we've included in the presentation. And one thing I do love to do is use examples that you guys put into the comments and then use your business as the faux business rather than using the one that's in the example. And it might give you some ideas, might give you some sort of brainstorming, like development. But hopefully a few of you do this and we'll crack on throughout today's session. One of the great things about today's session, it's one of many sessions. Social media strategy is essentially, we're going to go through building a plan to engage an audience or find new customers online, what it says on the tin. But one thing to consider is there is a hell of a bigger plethora of potential presentations that you could do. Social media strategy perfectly sits hand in hand with writing for social media. There's also develop a digital marketing plan, I think it is. Apologies if it's not exactly the name. There are online YouTube ones, there's analytics, there's Google ads and other ads that you can have a look at as well. So do have a look at the Google Digital Garage offering. There's loads of different areas that certainly help develop your digital marketing knowledge. So this is just one tip of the iceberg. Below the iceberg is a hell of a lot of other courses. And do also have a look at the Google Digital Garage qualification. This sort of brings around all of the sort of knowledge. So instead of having little snippets, it rounds off all those edges, goes into everything from beacons to Google My Business, or My Business, I think it's called now, to digital marketing, to a little bit about websites as well, a little bit about SEO. So do bear in mind that this is just one part of the huge offering that Google does offer to hopefully get everybody to improve their knowledge. So how is today's session broken down? Today's session is broken down into what I like to see as 3 bite-sizable chunks. The first one is the use of social media to help grow your business. So how can it actually help grow your business? We're going to go a bit of a deep dive into this. The second one is once you understand the fundamentals of this, we then need to actually start thinking about how can we build a social media strategy to match how we can use social media to grow our business. If you don't understand one, it's a bit of a chicken and the egg until you understand the other. And then last of all, learning some tips and look at tools that could help you maybe improve the speed of development, improve your knowledge, possibly even share some of the load with other members of the team, or even just people who you're trying to engage with to improve your digital marketing. So there's loads of different bits of information. Do feel free to get a notepad, take it on your phone, take some snaps as you're doing it if there's something maybe you want to make a bigger note of. And do remember that until tomorrow at approximately 12 in the afternoon, you can rewatch this video, pause, play, rewind, and basically take in as much of it as you can. So do have a look at this. Copy the URL, make it down as a digital note, and give yourself that extra bit of time maybe to digest it, and then come back to it and make some more in-depth notes. One thing that I do absolutely love is we've got an amazing offering for any UK-based businesses or charities. So one of the things that I'm really proud to be part of, and I've been a part of this since it pretty much started, is the one-to-one mentoring available from Google. So this is an amazing opportunity for any UK small business, any UK charity to get free one-to-one mentorings with an expert in the area that they choose to get the mentor from. So all you need to do is go to g.co/UK mentoring, and this will give you an amazing opportunity to basically sign up. It takes no longer than 2 minutes. You basically put in your details, the area that you would like some assistance with, or the area that you would like, not necessarily some assistance, but some guidance in. This is not about doing something for you. It might be that you've got to a certain point, you want to maybe get over that hurdle, you want to discuss something a bit more in depth or maybe understand it more. This is not I've got a problem, this is a solution. It's Let's build your knowledge. Let's take you to that next level. And one thing I do always say to anyone turning up to here, if it is something that is quite fundamental, quite basic, try and get as far up that scale of fundamental and basic that you can, so that when you get into the session, you're not covering stuff that you could have researched yourself. And this gives you the best opportunity to take the most you can from this session. So do have a look at g.co/UK mentoring. So we've had one or two people. So we've got Kim from the Philippines. Have you got a small business, Kim? What you here for? And hopefully we'll be able to maybe tweak today's session just for you. So how can we use social media to help grow a business? So one of the reasons we discussed this, one of the reasons I think use social media has such a big impact on a business is quite simple. With metrics like these, just in the UK. So last time I can vaguely recollect looking into this, there was about 68 million people in the UK. Out of those people, 44 million actively use social media. So this means that they actively use it. It's semi-regular. It's not something they touch once a month. This means that there are 44 million opportunities for you to get in front of your potential target audience. And realistically, out of 44 million people, there's a very good chance that one of those, 10 of those, 1,000 of those, potentially, depending on what you're selling, 1 million of those are one of your potential target audiences, one of your personas. But what's even more interesting is the average amount of time that they spend online is 1 hour 54 a day. Let's just round that up for simple maths, 2 hours a day. That means that if you've got 2 hours a day and 44 million people using social media, you've got 88 million hours a day of people on social media. And when you start thinking about that in terms of days, I'm not going to do the quick maths, but 88 million divided by 24 hours, you can start to see, actually, is this something that if I don't currently have or I don't currently use, is this something that I should use? Is this something that I could use? Is this something that is mind-blowing and I don't understand it, but it makes sense to use? So one of the things we have to consider here is, yes, there's a lot of information around social media, but actually you can take these baby steps to get you that little step further, that another little step further, with the whole idea at the end of it, just to dip your toe in the water, to start using social media, even if it's just set up a Facebook profile, get yourself a basic logo, fill in the basic information, watch some YouTube videos on how to fill it in. There's also a course that we run, which is, I think it's Find Your Customers Online, or if you could do, Tessa, if you could have a look through the tricks and just put a link to that one or the name of it, that would be good. 1 second. We got Luca. We've got a few more people popping up, so thank you for joining. So what we're trying to get at either way is that your customers are on social media. If you've not got it, get onto it. Start small. Start with one platform, get some content, get some confidence, and then start to build from there. So what does it actually do for you as a business? So straight off the bat, generating more sales is what everybody says. They want sales, 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 money, money, money. And this is the concept that, don't get me wrong, is your end goal in 99% of businesses. But the reason for this, we've got to start breaking down. So what can we do with social media? So first of all, we can reach new audiences. So when we're talking about this, we mean people that have never seen you before. If you're not on social media, and now you are on social media, you've got a good opportunity to get in front of people. And you might think, well, it takes ages. Well, some of it can take a while. But even, for example, reaching new audiences, creating new opportunities, targeting specific customers, building networks and relationships, this could easily just be go onto Facebook. So I live in South Manchester in a place called Sale, and our local, Facebook group is called M33 Sale. There's another one that's called Sale M33. There's M33 Businesses. There's M33 Lockdown. There's all sorts of Facebook groups. But what you can do here could be, if you're a small business, if you've got a shop, if you've got a takeaway, if you've got a restaurant or any other business, even if you looked at it, went onto the rules for that particular group, and it says businesses can post once a week on a Tuesday, or 3 times a week on a Monday, a Wednesday, and a Friday, or whatever it is, the rules, make sure you conform to them. But even just by posting onto there, getting involved in conversation, if someone's saying, where's the best coffee place, where's the best takeaway, just saying, this is our takeaway, here's a link to our reviews, we let other people talk about us, all of a sudden, you're reaching new audiences. You're creating new opportunities, even just putting what's your special for that week. And you might think, oh, no one reads that. I have seen it personally. I've worked with the takeaway where I put these posts and people say, oh, where are you based? We put an offer on there and people have used those offers. And then all of a sudden, you're targeting specific people local to your area. And we've not even started going into digital advertising yet. This is just simple, generating more sales by just getting your face in front of people that you wouldn't have got in front of before. And then by doing this, you're building these relationships, you're building these networks. Then could you start to have a word with local businesses? Could you start to have a word with local events? Could you get in front of more people? For example, there's loads of markets near us called the makers markets. And I know there's a few curry places that have started to diversify their business. And they've started to do curry meals that are frozen that you order. I don't know if you know, but curry is particularly good frozen. They've started to order these meals so that when people turn up, they can literally say, I want like 4 meals, some poppadoms. I don't do poppadoms, but definitely do the curries and naan breads. And they're all frozen. And basically they take them as like a takeaway and then they can take them out of the freezer when they want. They're cheaper than a takeaway, but they sell out every single month. The store is there and it's usually gone by 11:30 because people pre-order, pick it up and go. But they were a takeaway. So starting to think about how you can diversify as well means you can start to use this with social media and start to use what social media can bring to drive more sales. Once we've gone through sales, we can then start to see, well, actually, what else can it do for your business? So we've talked about sales, but actually, before sales, people's opinion. Before someone actually clicks on your website, they want to get a bit of a vibe for what you're about. So one of the things we could do is add value to your brand. So we're already an established business. Well, what else can we do for the local area? What else can we do to let people know that we are very good? Well, we could raise customer service levels. How can we do this? So it could be we make sure that we've got the functions ticked on Facebook so that the chat automatically replies to the person. So that the questions that most people ask you on Facebook are already supplied. Your opening times, your menu, how do I book a private event? You could have them as 3 questions that people just click on with bespoke answers that even have customizable bits to say like, hi, Joe, thank you so much for asking what time we're open at. We're open Monday to Friday, X, Y, and Z, Saturday and Sunday, X, Y, and Z. Thank you so much for your inquiry. If you'd like to find out more information, please just message us back. But all of a sudden, someone's gone, oh, that was easier than I expected. Or it could even just be if you've got a tentative message, someone's about to type. There's an option where if you type and you delete it, it sees its tentative message and just says, hi, how can I help you today? Some people get a bit freaked out by it. Some people softly introduce themselves to the message and go, oh, well, I may as well message them. And all of a sudden, it gives you an opportunity to show a new side to your business. It could be maybe you're doing behind the scenes. It could be maybe you're working with a local charity. It could be that you are having to build the local community around you. You're helping out. You could be at events. You could sponsor a local football team. There's loads of things that you could do, but if no one sees this, how do they see the value that it's added to your brand? So by raising customer service, sing about it online as well. Creating conversations that people couldn't ask before, they could only ring you. One of the things to consider here as well, by having social media, it gives people a different medium to communicate with you. And you might think, well, why would people want that? Well, a simple way of looking at this is I remember when I was a little bit younger, my other half point blank refused to ring takeaways. She hates having that awkward conversation. I just embrace it and just crack on. But when all the food apps started coming out and websites people started developing for small businesses, she was more than happy to then start ordering takeaways, which then removed that burden from myself. But more importantly, the reason for that is because it's a medium that suited her. So some people may not want to ring up the takeaway, may not want to ring up your shop, may not want to ring up your restaurant, but they might want to communicate with you, asking about presents, asking about opening times, asking about anything. And then all of a sudden, because of this extra medium of communication, it gives them a way of going, hi, I'm Joe, just wondering if there's a possibility you do any vouchers. And beforehand, you're like, I don't do vouchers. How could I do vouchers? I've had a few people ask about this. And I know a local restaurant near me actually did this and people started asking. So they then started to create vouchers. And all of a sudden, supply came demand and demand they conformed to. All because people started messaging them, ringing them up, and it's what people wanted. So now you've started to build this community online. You've started to show people what your brand is about. And again, just by having social media, it gives you a way of doing this. So next, how can we how do you think social media can also help with marketing? Well, essentially, this is what it is on the tin. You can generate more sales, you can add value, but essentially, you've got to demonstrate what you're doing. You've got to say how you have improved. So help get you noticed on search. So first of all, you're going to have a Facebook profile with your business name on it, with information about your business name repeated a few times, maybe in the description, in the title, some images, in the when you name images, even in the image names, you can embed content in. So all of a sudden, this means that if you've got a website, you've got your website, your Google business profile, maybe Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. If it's a unique name, it's very feasible that this information will come quite high at the top. And the more you start to post, the more you start to understand how SEO works, which we're not going into today, but do have a Google around that. It means you've got another presence online. But this now attracts more people to your site. So by having social media, someone types in your business, you might want to go to Facebook, have a look at some people's reviews, have a look at some pictures that you've got, have a look at events that you've been doing the last few months and see, is this an active business? Is this an inactive business? Do they have good reviews? Do they have images that demonstrate their restaurant, their shop at different seasons, how it balances out what it has at one time of the year to another time of the year, and what the actual customers think of the shop? And all of a sudden, the marketing can demonstrate this, attracting more people to your site, driving people to your site. Your goal for social media should be to drive people to your social media, to interact with them, to create an emotional response. Essentially, you want the synapses in someone's brains to go, ooh, let me see what this is about. Go to your social media, get a level of persuasion, maybe a few call to actions, book on today, have a call, browse our website, browse our line of fashion brand. They click on it, they go to your website. Your social media has now done its job. You have improved your marketing. But the amazing thing at this point, behind the scenes, behind closed doors, this also gives you valuable insights into your business. So, for example, someone goes onto your Facebook page. They have probably put in their age, they have probably put in their gender, they have probably put in their location, they have probably put in some interests. All of a sudden, they click on your Facebook page. Once enough people that Facebook's algorithm has decided it's enough, it'll start to give you data on this. And now you can see it's mainly men who are 25 to 30, who are single and are active sports people. And all of a sudden, you're like, well, that's quite interesting. So if that's most of my audience, could I create content that matches that persona? Could it be during the World Cup, I put offers on that are targeted at men? Doesn't mean you can't put one that's targeted at women as well. But what I'm trying to say is that you've got valuable insights that give you more knowledge about who your customers are, about who your personas are. And this now gives you the optimum opportunity to use this knowledge and to use this insights, sort of like reverse psychology, to get better communication with your customers. So if beforehand you went, who's your customers? And you went, men over 25, I think. You say, all right, that's gut instinct. It's not necessarily wrong. Prove it to me. Okay, we'll go to the insights on Facebook. Go onto there. It is men 25 to 30. Brilliant. But what about your website? Have they gone through to your website as well? Then we go to analytics. We can see a similar thing. But what's great about this is that if you see a few spikes of women, maybe 35 to 40, who are interested in X, Y, and Z, now you can start to use this information to go, well, how could I get more people like this? I remember once we had a lady come into the shop who was like a company or organization called Mumsnet. And she came in and was like, I don't really use analytics. I'd like to learn more about it. Sat in some courses, had some one-to-ones in the Manchester Google Digital Garage. And she came in quite a lot. But I remember she came in once and had a look at Facebook. And she was like, well, I just don't know what people like. I don't know what I'm here. We had a look at analytics. She'd never looked at these before. And she noticed a trend on both the analytics and Facebook of interests. And there was quite a lot of interests in, it was like a local area, quite an affluent area that she was based, the people that were interested in horse riding. And you might think, how is that useful information? But she then directly contacted local horse riding centres, looked for when they had events on, and then had a stall at those events and found quite an increase in people who were interested in following her website, following her social media, because she found that online people had an affinity towards horse riding, and then thought, could I use this information to take this offline and then bring more people online? And you might think, oh, a bit lucky that. But actually, there was loads of information that it gave us what interests were there. And then it's just about using, extrapolating what the relevant information is to gain valuable customer insights. Also, keep an eye on your competitors. So one thing to consider here is that if you're on Facebook and you're not on Facebook beforehand, you're on Twitter, you're on Instagram, and you aren't a social butterfly. You don't build yourself a little cocoon of social media and then eventually build yourself into a butterfly and fly away and learn everything there is about it. Without that, you don't know what your competitors are doing. For example, is there a local, say, a takeaway maybe that is a student takeaway? And you might think, okay, we've got a student takeaway. Let's do some student offers. I don't know what they look like. It's all right. Have a look at a local takeaway who are doing quite well in the middle of student town. Have a look at their posts. Maybe they do something like on a Wednesday. I know that on a Wednesday, they have most universities in the afternoon have a sports afternoon. And on every Wednesday, most of the country, it is like the sports events. They play different universities and so on. You have nights out. You've got student nights. You've got on a Wednesday. You've got on a Monday. And a weekend, you could have student offers. But you could literally have student Wednesday, buy one, get one free on pizzas, or whatever the cheapest thing you can sell to lose the least amount of profit margin. But if you can start to get an extra 50 people a month who then come back and buy it on a Friday when it's not an offer, buy it on a whatever day when it's not an offer, all of a sudden you're still making profit. But by keeping an eye on your competitors, you can start to see, well, what are they posting about? They've got something coming up here about, there's a big event coming up in Manchester. There's a carnival, there's a festival that's going at the end of our road. There's a food event coming up and they're going to it. Could I go to that? All of a sudden, by keeping an eye on your competitors, it's not cheating. It's just using your competitors to gain advantage. It's like a game of chess. They might move the pawn to rook a7. All of a sudden, you're like, brilliant. I'm going to follow that move and just see what happens. And it's not to say you just directly copy, but by doing that, it gives you ideas, it gives you influence, it gives you a little bit of knowledge around it. And then when you start to your own posts, compare how you do theirs and try and keep it to standards and try and go beyond those standards. If you just aim for the stars, what about beyond the stars, beyond the moon, beyond the galaxy? But you've got to start somewhere, which is just maybe the edge of the stratosphere. But start to think about your competitors, because your competitors can help influence your own decisions. So the things you need to be asking yourself is not necessarily, am I on social? We need to start thinking that next level further now. So if you have got a notepad, if you have got some information, so we've got Chantel, Luca, and Shihab, I think it is. Do feel free to, a system support engineer. Do feel free to give us a little bit of context and maybe what your businesses are. And I'll try and answer some of these questions in that context. But either way, make some notes of these questions. If you work for a business, ask them these questions. If you're working with other businesses or your own business, ask yourself these questions. But write them down, give a little bit of space for you to answer them. Are my posts on social media driving people to my website? So it's amazing if you get 100 likes a day. You get 1 million likes in a year. But this is that old sort of influencer question. You can have 1 million followers, but if your followers are inactive, aren't involved in you, aren't involved in your brand, then what are they doing? This is why when people say you can buy followers, you can. There's bots out there. There's things that can do it. You'll have 2 million followers on Instagram, but 2 likes a day, which means either your followers have just followed you because you were part of a viral campaign and they thought it was funny, or potentially you've got, not you, but somebody you might know might have bots, might have paid for influence, might have paid for followers. The biggest thing here is engagement. And if they're going onto your social media and liking it, but not getting anything through to your website, then can you change the way you're doing your posts? If you're doing video posts, it could be, instead of saying, hey, everybody, just doing some posts today about how you can drive social media to get more sales in your business. Oh my word, you've already 7 seconds just passed and all you've done is talk about what's going on. A quick, straight to the point. Today, we're going to be talking about driving sales to your business. Click on the link below, follow us, drop through to our website. We've got a few courses on this. Anyway, let's get into it. All of a sudden, you've got a call to action in there. You're asking people to do something. You've got buttons below to click on. You've got buttons at the end to click on. You've got links. You've got a post and your comments. You've got everything that's trying to drive people to come to your website. What kind of updates should I post? At this point, if you're just starting off, product updates, simple updates. At the end, we're going to give you a few examples, but have a look at your competitors. But ask that question. Start to research what you could post. Who are my most influential followers? So on Twitter, for example, have a quick Google on how do I find my most influential followers on Twitter? And essentially, there's a filter that puts them in reverse order. So at the top down, or order, not the reverse order, whatever the most influential is down. And if you find, for example, maybe you've got a few reasonably influential people, like micro influencers, possibly an influencer as well, you could even reach out to them and say, it's great that you're part of our brand. How about you come in one day and do a review of our food? You could say, give them some food for free. You could also say the opposite and just say a bit of discount maybe, or just, it's great that you're part of our brand. We've got this special event coming up and we'd love you to come along. You don't have to offer stuff for free. That's the thing that a lot of people do with influencers, is they get on that dangerous side of it. You could do affiliate marketing with them and say, here's a link to book something for at our restaurant, but we'll give you 10% of every booking that goes through that. There's loads of different ways of using their influence to create influence for you. And when is the best time to engage with your audience? So we had this again, I think the same lady actually, Mumsnet. She had it so that she basically was like, well, I'm not too sure when to post, what to post, why to post. But eventually we then had a look at it and went, actually, well, why don't we have a look at what time people do post on your website? People do post on your social media. What time are you posting versus what time are they online? And just by aligning those times, she said, most parents go to bed at like 7:30. So then I said, oh, well, do you know that? And she was like, well, I do. And my friends do. I was like, well, brilliant. But when do people come on your social media? Well, that's when I post. I was like, that's not the question I asked. When do people come onto your social media? When do you get the most engagement? I don't know. Went on to analytics, had a quick look at the insights, the social media insights, and analytics can show you as well. And literally jumped onto it and went about 8:15, 8 o'clock. And she was like, oh, that's a bit strange, a bit later than I expected. And I was like, so what do we now do with this information? Because it could be that parents put the kids to bed, grab a cup of tea, do some tidying, then sit down and relax. All of a sudden, posted a bit later, found engagement went up because she asked that question, because she changed the answer to what she thought it was. And sometimes, as I say, gut instinct is amazing. It's got to where you are now. But sometimes use data to drive this gut instinct. And remember, attention spans are short. Have a look at writing for social media as well. We go a bit into this here. Think like a goldfish. A goldfish forgets in 7 seconds. And anything it's just said, what was I saying? It remembers or does not remember 7 seconds later. So you want to be able to grab that attention within 7 seconds. The hook, what are you talking about? What are you going to talk about? A quick introduction, go. Because they need to see in the first 7 seconds, can they actually understand what you're doing? Do they want that bit of knowledge? Do they want that bit of advertisement? And there's a lot of competition. So don't just do an average post. Learn from your posts, develop them, look back at them. It's not always free. So some people say, I don't want to pay using social media. The only thing I will tell you for free is don't just use the boost button on Facebook, because it'll get you more people, but it doesn't get you necessarily the people that you want, doesn't necessarily target the audiences. So if you are going to do ads on Facebook, spend a bit of time maybe going on to Google and typing Facebook Blueprint, is like their online sort of course that's free. Go on to Google, maybe type in how do I do ads, watch a few videos. But by choosing your target audiences, you'll get better emotional responses, and you can literally say this age, this demographic, this gender, this whatever, and you can target them more accurately rather than just boost, which goes and just shoots out to everyone and hopes to catch something. But sometimes paying does make sense. You could spend 4 hours a week doing social media and get 200 followers, but that 4 hours a week in a month is 16 hours a month. That time might be worth £10 an hour, say. That's £160 of time and money. You could spend £20 a week, £10 a week, £5 a week, just testing the waters and get 400, 500, 1,000 followers, which means you've actually spent that time, which is free, but it's not because it's your time, to increase your followers, which increases the amount of people that come to your website and starts your funnel quicker. And remember, last of all, once it's public, it's public. So if you do a Twitter post, Facebook, whatever, people can take a print screen of it. People can share that online. And just because you've deleted it doesn't mean it's gone. So always spend time just double checking for grammar, double checking for errors, double checking that everything you do and say makes sense on videos, on text, on images, your logo in the right area. Spend that extra little bit of time doing this. So we've not had any questions yet, but remember there's 2 other opportunities to get this. We've got a few people watching. Do feel free to actually get involved. How to build a social media strategy. So there's 5 key steps to building a social media strategy. And that is basically the audience, who are they? The business goals, what are they? Which social media platforms? The tone of voice which you use on these social media platforms. What is success? And when you bring all these steps together, it means you've spent the time developing the strategy, spent the time to actually open up your mind, open up your learning, open up your, I suppose, even mindset to go, right, I'm not just going to run at social media and catch whatever I can. I'm going to build a strategy. I'm going to strategize what I'm going to do. You didn't just wake up one day and you had a business. You strategized how you got to that point. You had to get involved with something. You had to develop something. You had to have an idea. You had to bring that to life. The same comes with social media, which is why we're giving you a nice 5-step program to do this. So step 1, we said audience, but we need to define your audience. Who are they? What are they into? Who/what influences them? When are they usually online? Which social media do they use? And you might think, well, how can I even find out all these? Write these questions down. And then afterwards, start to dig into this. Realistically, when we're talking about an audience, you want a minimum of 3 personas or avatars or audiences, depending what wording you use. And I see them as 3 buckets of information. And you're like, just a man, 25 to 30, interested in sports, loves food, likes healthiness, has a family. Another bucket could be exactly the same, but doesn't have a family, likes to go out at the weekends. And you start to work out there are differences between these buckets and differences between these audiences. But once you start asking all of these questions, what influences them? Who influences them? When are they usually online? You'll find that the difference in answers means you'll get more accurate information about these people. And then you'll start to work out, well, if it's a younger audience, are they on a platform like TikTok or Instagram? If it's an older audience, are they on maybe something more like Twitter or Facebook? At different times as well. And it's why you need to consider your audiences. Because if you've got 5 buckets of audiences, you can have more. But it now means you've started to think who they are. You can start to make content for them, not just for everyone. So how can you define this? Easy ways of doing this is speak to real people to understand their needs and interests. So if you've currently got an audience base, could you send out an email and say, is there anybody here based in the Northwest in Manchester that would love to come to our shop, restaurant, whatever, or even just maybe an office space that you can hire for a day? And literally ask them some genuine questions. You could reward them with some vouchers maybe for your business or discount codes. But what we're trying to get at here, yes, Facebook is Meta. Sorry. Oh, wait. Someone asked a question. You really answered the question. You could also argue the difference between Facebook and Meta could also be the fact that Facebook is more prolifically seen as their social media platform, when Meta is the umbrella above it, which is probably more to do with VR, which is a very interesting word of digital marketing in itself. Anyway, then once you've asked these questions, you've talked to real people, you'll start to dig deeper into this. You could even do like little groups of this age group. Let me ask you some questions, market research, identifying groups and segments that you're most attracted to your offerings. Now you're starting to segment people, so you can start to literally hone into those individuals, learn who they are. On Writing for Social Media, we go into this a little bit more, but it's about literally being that person, writing content like you are that person that day. So if you're Joe, 35, male with a family, really interested in sports and food, I am Joe when I'm writing this social media content. The next day, I'm Betty writing something else for someone more like my mum, who's 65 plus, has a large family, is retired, spends a lot of time at home, goes out for coffees with her friends. Totally different social media content, totally different engagement. So do spend the time developing this knowledge. Build online surveys, Google Forms, SurveyMonkey, Microsoft Forms, whatever you want to do. Ask multiple choice questions, ask in-depth open questions so that you build a plethora of knowledge before you start just shooting out social media content. You want to envelop the knowledge. You want to envelop the social media persona and then literally write content for those personas so that you understand them fully. Using insights on each platform means you can start to learn more and more and more about the people who are on your social media and find out, actually, what can I do about this? If they're mostly men at this age or women at this age, or my second and third most popular with this and this and this, start to segment them into your 3 different buckets, your 3 different personas, so you can understand fully what is going on. Then define your goals. If you don't define your goals, how can you ever step in that direction? If you just say, I want to get 1 million followers, brilliant. Everyone wants 1 million followers. Realistically, let's take that down a level. Let's break it down. Right? I want to give better customer service this month, and I want to connect with more influencers. You could do all of these, but let's give yourself a realistic task. So, pardon me, get better customer service. How are we going to do this? Everybody that goes to each of the tables in our restaurant, we're going to ask them to leave us a review. We're going to ask them to send us an email. We could incentivize it. We could ask, but basically, how can we get better customer service? A, communicate better with our customers. If someone emails us, someone's messaged us, bang, reply as quick as possible. Get the app on your phone. Turn on notifications. Have it on your laptop, your tablet, and your phone rather than just your laptop, so you're always available for that business, or somebody is always available for that business. How could I connect with more influencers? Well, I could start messaging a few people who are in my current list of influencers, and then maybe go on Twitter and start to do a little bit of research into other people, and even just message them, starting that communication. That could be stage 1, but you've now defined what your goal is, and that's what you're going to do. So set one social media goal. Discovery could be what the goal is and how is it going to help your business. So I'm going to contact some influencers with the hope that they may do a post with me to get to a bigger audience. Identifying barriers. Well, what if they don't reply? They might not want to do it. Okay, send a lot of social media messages, and eventually you're going to get a few. So that's not a barrier, but you've identified that barrier. Rather than going, I was going to send a few, no one got back to me, I failed. Right, what's the barrier? Well, could we change the messaging? Could we find maybe a different social media influencer? Could we maybe try and find a different type of influencer? Are the social media gods who want to £600,000 a post nowhere near be able to afford that versus a local influencer who just likes food blogging but has a decent following? Develop, list what you need to achieve this goal. So do you need time? Do you need a bit of research first? So you can go tick, 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 tick. Right, done that bit of research. I started this. There's my goal. And work out how to mitigate anything that is the problem. So you've now got all of these together. So work out how to mitigate it, write it down. You've now got a plan. Let's actually do this. Step 3, choose channels carefully. So when you're doing this, are you business focused? Are you lifestyle focused? So for example, if you're on Instagram, realistically, you want people to come to you because they're seeing a video maybe about your food, maybe about your business, people talking about it, people wanting to learn about what that business is about. And they're watching videos maybe of the food being prepped. They're watching videos of people in your restaurant enjoying themselves. That's lifestyle focused. When if you're selling it based on metrics, you're saying this point of sales system, it'll save you 20 hours a week. And we've got 100 reviews saying it's the best one ever. All of a sudden, that's business focused. So decide what your business is going to be. Generally, if it's restaurant, if it's public facing, it's going to be lifestyle focused. You're trying to persuade people with interesting facts, interesting videos, nice videos of cheese melting over chips, only mozzarella, people. But that gives you a bit of an idea then of actually, this is what this could be. I might want to go there because of this video. So straight away, so you said a minute ago, Luca, about promoting it online. It could be going onto local groups. It could be copying the link so people could leave a comment, leave you a review in your shop with a QR code. There's loads of different ways. I'll have a little think as well, but there's essentially different ways that you could use Facebook to do that. Paid posts, normal posts, even just getting involved in local forums, like putting links on there. Start thinking of different ways that you can do this. And remember that different channels need different strategies. For example, you're using hashtags on Instagram. On Facebook, it's not so much a way of being used or following hashtags. Also, the size of the images. One of them might be this big. One of them might be this big. If you cross-post to all platforms, I've seen it where they've got a sale, but the word sale is on the top bit and it's been cut off because they've posted to Facebook from Instagram or vice versa. So different platforms need different ways of doing things, research in different ways. Hence, I say, start with one platform, get very comfortable with it, and then move across. So Twitter, ways of looking at this is it's a great quick fire conversation PR tool. Dollar Shave Club literally asked their audience, how often do you want a razor? Once a month. They asked the audience, how much you want to spend on a razor? $1. Okay, so we'll send you a pack of razors once a month with 4 razors in it, and it's only $4. Not expensive. But on a subscription model with 1 million people doing quite well, then they worked out we can cross-sell and still make the same amount of money, but all of a sudden people think they've got a premium service. Boom, Dollar Shave Club. That's exactly what they did. Use Twitter to answer their questions, listen to the audience. Dollar Shave Club. $1 to be in a club with shaving implements. Great about this is you can create professional looking profiles, header images, handles. But again, go onto Google, go onto Canva, templates for Twitter, templates for LinkedIn, whatever, with the word header images. All of a sudden, it's got all the dimensions for you. Swap out some images, swap out some colors, change the background. Canva, totally free. You can get a paid version as well, which is quite cheap. But again, you can now create these images. Research hashtags. Research which ones are followed. Research ones that are in your local area. For example, if you have, say, food as a hashtag, that's great, but it could be the world looking at food. Is the hashtag Manchester food, Northwest food, Sale food, Sale foodie? All of a sudden, you're finding hashtags that are being followed by local people. You don't want 1 million people liking your post, but most of them live in Australia and you live in England. You might get 1 or 2 people in the world coming over when they come here because it sounds so good, your place. But realistically, you want local people to find you. So ask the question to your audiences. What do you want? Next week, we're going to do a special Indian night. What would you want and would you come? Everyone starts putting answers. Everyone starts getting involved. You make the content people are asking for. They come, they have the content, ask for reviews, make that cycle circular. But all of a sudden, use the tools that are on here to do this. So straight away, ask questions, run polls, learn from your target audiences. Retweet, get engaged, retweet from people posting. Joe Wicks, for example, the body coach. I remember once I did a post when I did a load of meal preps from his meals. Took a picture of it, posted it online, tagged him on it. He simply retweeted it. I was buzzing because I got like thousands of engagements. But at the same time, he's like, I've just copied that post that someone's followed, doing what I've asked them to do. Easy win, retweet. Joe banging his meal prep. Well done. All of his audience sees a normal Joe Schmo like me, but actually he's won because it's an ambassador for his brand. Retweeted, got involved. I buzzed because I got a load of social media interaction on Twitter. But all of a sudden, all he did was use a retweet tool and pinned it out to his audience. And if you have got something that's important coming up, maybe a night, maybe a special night, an evening, a special offer, also pin that to the top of your Twitter. Facebook, subtly different, more of a shop front, more of a way of driving people in through using videos of cheese melting over chili con carne. You've got your opening hours, your contact details, all on display at the top, not just in your little bio at the top of your Twitter profile. You can do call to actions like ring us now, order online, takes you straight to the website. But you've got this whole sort of layout that makes things more appealing. If you're trying to sell bolognese, look how good that bolognese looks. Watch that video as the cheese melts. Watch those other bits of potato cheese balls, some herbs and spices, maybe some arancini. But all of a sudden, you've got all of this content that is driving people who are looking for a slightly different thing on Facebook. Usually they're researching something on Facebook, where Twitter, it can be more of a browse. So start to think how different platforms can do this for you. The same with Instagram. You've got your stories, use them. Stories on Instagram get far more engagement than just posts. So could we do both? Could we post to stories quite regularly, behind the scenes, just whipping up some arancini tonight? The special on is going to be amazing. We've had great reviews in the past, maybe a link to 1 or 2 reviews. All of a sudden, people are clicking on it, people are getting engaged, people are watching the stories. But you repost that and use that as a post as well, maybe. So you've not burnt that time. Remember to go easy on the hashtags. Don't just put 1,000 on there. Make maybe 3 branded ones that you're going to use regularly, 3 or 4 ones that are local ones, 3 or 4 ones that are maybe ones that are somewhat relevant to that piece of actual content. Don't doing like 50 odd because it can't be that useful to have 50 odd. Follow influencer brand, that people that interest you. Learn from them. See what they do. Can we look at that sort of posts? So, for example, Aldi, surprisingly, are very good at doing content online. Have a look at Aldi's Instagram. It's one of the most on point Instagrams online. LinkedIn, again, we've got this online profile for your company. You've got brand advocates literally talking about you, saying how much they've worked with you, how much they enjoy working with you. Your employees talking about you, literally saying how good your company is. You've got people writing comments. You've got you sharing yourself at different events, you being in different places, demonstrating your online presence, showcasing your page. Get product news, get thought leadership. All of a sudden, you are the person to talk to about Italian food, Italian cooking, asking people opinions, people just messaging you randomly, giving that little bit of time back by replying to the messages with honest responses. YouTube, one of the most underrated ones. You post on YouTube, you can put to all of the social media platforms. This is by far the biggest social media platform because most people use it to share to all the other ones. But you can leave product reviews. You can get your customers to leave reviews. This is the ideal one because this is real faces, real reactions. I really enjoyed that arancini on Friday night. Not many people will leave you video reviews. But if you can get a video review or video content that has people talking about your business on it, it is social proof. It's better than a bit of text. It's emotive. So start to think how you can do this, how you could collaborate with local people, local brands, local restaurants, local influencers, their channels, their vlogs, their blogs, whatever, podcasts. And it all comes down to what time you've got to spend on this. And step 4, your social voice. So all of these are great, but if you've got like a social media post and they're all over the place, colors, logos, whatever, it doesn't always work. So consider, for example, on this, where is your logo going to exist? So is it going to be used in that corner? Is it that variation of your logo? What font, what colors are you going to use? The tone of voice, the personality, is it going to be fun? Is it going to be silly? Is it going to be serious? Do's and don'ts, styles of images. I like to have the hall of fame, the hall of shame, and then the bit in the middle, which is sort of like words you could use, words you should use. So you could have all the words that you're always going to use. Writing for social media goes into this in more depth if you could put a link for us. And then basically you have the words you're not going to use. So you're not going to say like, oi, oi, mate. You're going to say stuff like my patrons. You're going to say my customers. You're going to say thank you so much, not tar love. All of a sudden, you never use words like that. And that means if somebody else is doing it, they can look at this wall with your brand guidelines, with your posts that have done really well, your posts that haven't done so well, and go, right, it says in the bottom right-hand corner, I need to use Arial. I need to use this link for the website. I don't ever use Illuminous Green. I only use this font style of text. I don't use more than 20 words. Okay, let's make a post about that. But you're keeping to your brands, you're keeping to your guidelines, your social voice is being met. So you don't just suddenly be all friendly and the next day you're starting talking about war. And it's like, what? I followed you because it's fun, because it's engaging, because it's something that's lighthearted. All of a sudden you're getting massively involved in politics. Then you've gone from that to serious to formal and you're flipping between them. Consider what your brand voice is and then stick to it, because your brand social voice is why people follow you. Here's a great example of this. So stereotypically, women are seen as fragile, are seen as, oh, you want to do your nails, you want to not do sports. But what are we trying to say here is that that's ridiculous. That's a stereotype that exists. Doesn't mean it's correct. So all of a sudden, we've got this brand called This Girl Can. This Girl Can. Under these gloves is a beautiful manicure saying, yeah, you can have nails done, but I'm still pretty rock hard. I can still do sports. I can still sweat. I also know the offside rule, playing on the stereotypes, sweating like a pig, feeling like a fox, having fun, enjoying life. Doesn't mean that you have to be prim and proper all the time. And it's that sort of effect where they've got the font is on point. The logo is always centralized. The images are powerful, are different, are something that isn't stereotypically what people perceive as this, and are pushing these social norms and going, this is what we are. This is how we are. This girl can. All of a sudden, this is consistent. And this now means that people are going to see. They've thought about this. They've thought about the logo. They've thought about the location. They've thought about the font, the color, the branding. So spend a little time looking at this and see how you can match this. And then last of all, define your success. So you want to grow sales, you want to grow influencers, put it on there. I want to grow whatever by 10% by this date. And this now means that if you succeed on passing this, if you succeed on doing this, you can see, have I actually achieved this? Once I've achieved it, tick, next thing. But if you don't define your success with percentages, with how many people versus last month versus last quarter, you'll never be able to do it. So I want to improve sales by 5% via Facebook. Brilliant. You've got sales that link via Facebook. You can go onto analytics and see what it was last month. Have you improved it by 5%? Yes, no. If you don't, what can you do differently? If you have, what have you done well? How can we do it elsewhere? So spend time building these. Consider paying as it reaches more audiences across different platforms, but essentially it's more sales and the growth quicker. So audience, business goals, social platforms, tone of voice, what is success? Bring them all together, rewatch that bit of the video, write this down, build your own goals. So what we're going to have a look next is different ways we can do this. So how can you post online? If you're struggling, and what can I post about? Here's some great examples. Announcement of new products that are coming in a few weeks, in a few months. Little taster here, little taster there, maybe a little snippet of a corner of it, maybe a bit of the dish. Maybe tonight we're doing some taster sessions of arancini. I just love arancini, by the way. Non-promotional, behind the scenes. Just got ourselves a new, I don't know, a new pizza-based mixer, or we've just got a new oven, or we've just got a new member of staff. Just showing people what's going on behind the scenes, giving them a flavor of maybe what you do every day. Maybe every day or every week you go, somebody asked me to cook a custom pizza. Whoever gets the most votes at the end of the week, or whoever gets I don't know, you put a thing online saying we've had 10 people asking for these flavors. Whoever gets the most votes from these Twitter polls, we're going to cook. All of a sudden, that becomes a special for the week after. Engagement with social media, creating the engagement to get more people to get engaged, voting, putting it in your restaurant. Hopefully, people then turn up for that. Again, it's just trying to think of different ways. Responses. So responses, engaging with customers or influencers. So on Facebook, you can have auto responses. You can just have it so you can respond and it says, thanks for that. It's not very personal though. So it might have the auto response, but then you follow up at the end of the day saying, thank you so much for mentioning our brand in the local group. It's great to see we've got people talking about us. Hopefully you'll come to our restaurant and try it. And you might even think recurring content, seasonal content, Christmas, summer, Easter, Eid, Hanukkah, all of these events happen yearly. So start to think, how can you put these into your social media calendar to make sure you don't forget them, that you make sure you're engaging with that time of year. Cheeky little hat for Christmas. Maybe you do some chocolate options. The local cafe to me does these really cool half chocolate Cadbury's eggs with cheesecake, a little bit of cream on top with a little Easter bunny in it. It costs like £6-7. Does not cost them £6-7. Do I buy it every year? Yes. Is it calorific? Yes. Is it Easter? Yes. But I wouldn't buy it if it wasn't Easter. But because they do that every year and it's so tasty, I'm all over it. But they get 100 people doing that. Boom, there's £600 they wouldn't have made without it. So start to think of different bits of content that you could do with this. And one of the biggest things to think about is experiences worth sharing. If you have an experience that you have had, if you have an experience that your customers have had, if you have an experience that you think is worth sharing, share it. Because often experiences like that are emotive. If some of the customers literally said, this is the best meal I've ever had. I took my family here on Friday night and I'm so happy we came. And they come up to you at the end of the meal. Literally stop at that moment and just say, you know what? I'm so happy that you did this. Is there any chance that you could give me a little bit of a video review? No? Okay, don't worry about it. If not, could you find us online and leave us a review? No rush. All of a sudden, if 1 in 10 of them says yes, that is an experience worth sharing. If you've got someone saying that, even just typing it on your social media saying, amazing tonight. We had a couple come in who said it was the best Italian they've ever tried. We'll definitely come back. It doesn't have to be a post review from them, but you can post that and let people engage with it. If they leave a review, copy the review, do a post about the review and say, just had another review tonight. So great when we hear our customers enjoying our food. Lorna from Denmark has said X, Y, and Z. I'm so happy she enjoys that because it takes us hours to prepare and we know it's the best dish in the house. Why don't you come and try this? Drop in that little question, the call to action. Use great graphics. Have a look at online like free images like Pixlr or there's a few. I can't think of the top of the head now. I panicked. But basically have a look at some online Canva, for example, has got a massive library of symbols, of images that you can use for free. But it then means you're making content that's sharp images. You take images with your phone that's decent, with a decent megapixels, so that it looks crisp. So when you're posting that pizza dripping in cheese with what's it called, with prosciutto, with mozzarella, with a bowl of burrata next to it, and it's falling apart, all of a sudden you've captured that image. You're posting that great image. But please check it for grammar as well. Have a look at something like Grammarly. Have a look at something, even using Chrome has got a built-in checker. But just remember to check these, because you can do the best image, but if you get caught out by someone who's not even the grammar police, it's going to look bad. And please do this with your menu as well. Manage your social media account. So you could use tools like Buffer. You can use tools like Hootsuite. The free versions, you'll get up to 30 posts on Hootsuite. Buffer, £2 a month per platform, possibly 3. But the main thing is that you might think, well, I don't need to spend money on social media accounts and posting. But actually, if you can use tools like Canva and pay £10 a month, you can use tools like Buffer and pay £3 a month and have 3 platforms. You're paying £19 a month. But the hours that will save you in content creation, in searching for original images, in searching for templates that are pre-made for you, and you just change the colors to suit your restaurants, are you worth £19 a month? If that saves you 2 hours of your time and you value your time at £10 an hour, which is not enough, 2 hours for £19, but you've saved yourself 6 hours, you're making money on that time because you're using tools to develop your brand online, to develop your knowledge, to increase your productivity. And now that £19 spent and cashed it in because you've saved 6 hours. So you've just saved £60 by spending 19. Simple maths, not exact maths, but you can see the point that I'm making. 1 second. So what we've got in knowledge, and let's see how we can get it into action. Set your goals for your strategy. Make it a SMART goal. Google SMART goals social media. And it should have something that is realistic, something that is time bound, something that has measurements, and something that you can actually see before and after. So have a think about this when you should be doing this, because essentially when we're talking about SMART goals, it's taken that extra level. The digital marketing course, digital marketing strategy, actually goes into this, and it literally tells you every single bit about a SMART goal. And it then goes into how you can create a digital marketing strategy so that you can literally talk about it in depth. It should be specific, so some of this easily measurable. So increase in sales, it should be measurable, it should be achievable, it should be relevant, and it should be time bound. So increase in sales by 15% on my website in 3 months. At the end of the 3 months, check that. So have a look at the digital marketing strategy, because we go through this in more depth. Define a tone of voice for your audience and content. So work out who you are. Go through our writing for social media content. This will help you do this. Ask yourself that question. If you don't know, ask your audience, how do you see our brand? Write me an open-ended response. Do a Google form. Ask your friends and family who literally understand your brand and maybe follow you and buy stuff off you. Are you fun? Are you engaging? Are you different? Are you original? All of a sudden, ask yourself these questions. When you understand this, now you can start to appeal to your target audiences with this by creating good, original content. Choose the right platform to focus on at first and then stretch out. Don't do all 5 social media platforms and struggle. Do one, nail it, move on. But do some research to which one would be the best ones for you first. So do we have any questions? 1 second. I've just started taking my social media marketing seriously just for a while ago. I think I was making the mistake of trying to do all 4 platforms at the same time. Yep. So again, like I've just said, make sure you don't do that. So one of the things to consider here is nail one of them. By all means, get all of your handles across all platforms. Once you've got your handles across platforms, it means no one can then just swipe them. Keep an eye on them, make sure they're up to date, make sure that you don't elapse. But it could be you do 1 post, 2 posts a month on the different platforms, maybe a week if you've got time, but you nail one of them until you build a following. And then what you can even do, Joe Wicks is a really good advocate of this. He was first on Instagram because of the 15-second videos, 15-minute meals, 15-second videos. And he did the 15-second videos online. It was like broccoli in a pan, bit of chicken, bit of cream, bit of sauce, salt and pepper, bosh, 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 done. But the main thing is in 15 seconds and made it into a 15-minute meal, sort of bounced them off each other. But then when he got massive, he started cross-platforming, saying, follow me on Twitter for some unique content. follow me on Facebook for some new recipes. And he started to drive traffic across platforms by using his following some other ones. So if you do nail one, it's not to say you can't bring them across to others. So do consider this, because it's not something that is impossible at all, and is definitely worth considering. Either way, thank you so much for getting involved today. Thank you so much for watching today's session with the Google Digital Garage. One thing we could ask you to do for next steps is go and get yourself a mentoring session. G.co/UK mentoring. Like you should do yourselves, always ask for feedback. Go to goo.gul/digital garage feedback. Give us some feedback. My name is Joe. We've had Tessa with us today as well on the moderating. Please give us some feedback. Hopefully it will help your sessions in the future. Have a nice day and enjoy the Digital Garage content. And maybe there'll be some more for you soon. Have a look at the links. Have a look on the website. Have a good day. Bye-bye.